Hi, I'm Jackie Stapleton and welcome to ATOL TV. Today I'm here to help you with understanding the requirements of ISO 14001. If you like this video and want to see more great content, then click the subscribe button and the bell icon. It costs nothing to subscribe and you can unsubscribe at any time. In this video, I'm going to cover clause 611, generously called general, which falls under clause 6.1, actions to address risks and opportunities. I'm going to break this clause down and turn it into something you can all understand. You'll then be able to apply this to your own organisation system and understand what the requirements will look like for you. No more guessing. So keep on watching as I can show you just how easy this is. Okay, let's get started. Clause 611, general, under actions to address risks and opportunities, is the first clause in the planning section of ISO 14001. I know that the clause title of general doesn't really explain much. What on earth does a clause titled general mean? To be honest, I don't know what the ISO 14001 technical committee were thinking when they named quite a few clauses throughout the standard as general. I can see that clauses called general are always the first clauses in a subclause section, which sort of explains it a bit, I guess. So a general clause normally explains the overall expectation of what's coming up. Now, there are quite a few different elements to this subclause, so I'm going to break them down into smaller chunks and explain each part as I go. This is an interesting clause as I think it's actually pulling everything that you've learned and applied in two previous clauses to now take action, do something about it, as well as looking forward to what you will learn in clauses that are still coming up in clause 6. ISO 14001 isn't just all talk and no action. The subclause 611 starts off with stating that the organisation shall establish, implement and maintain the processes needed to meet the requirements in 611 through to 614. This is now saying it is expected that you will identify risks and opportunities as a result of working through the requirements of these clauses that you're yet to come across in the standard. Clauses that follow this one. And these are, and I'll repeat them for you, clause 612, environmental aspects, 613, compliance obligations, 614, planning action. Now, I'm not going to go into the requirements of these clauses here, but you can certainly take a look on ATOL TV to find out what I have to say about each of these clauses individually. So all of these risks and opportunities that you identify as a result of actions from other clauses in ISO 14001 now need actions to address them. These actions may look like new processes, new equipment, training, new technology, setting objectives, putting on new team members or contractors. Whatever is needed to action these risks and opportunities will just be a part of your business and environmental management system. This subclause also then states that when planning for the environmental management system, the organisation shall consider the issues referred to in 4.1, the requirements referred to in 4.2, and then the scope of its environmental management system. I want to reflect back on exactly what this statement is saying. What I do want to point out is that this is referring back to clause 4.1, understanding the organisation and its context, clause 4.2, understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties, and clause 4.3, determining the scope of the environmental management system. Now, of course, before you can action any of these requirements, you should have implemented the requirements for those clauses. So 4.1, 4.2 and 4.3. So you do have an understanding of the requirements identified. I've covered these in previous videos, so be sure to check these out on ATOL TV if you need a refresher. As a result of completing the requirements for clauses 4.1, 4.2 and 4.3, you will have identified risks and opportunities to the business and to the environmental management system. So now clause 611 wants you to recognise those risks and opportunities and put some actions in place to manage them. So to, as per the rest of this clause, give assurance that the environmental management system can achieve its intended outcomes, prevent or reduce undesired effects, including the potential for external environmental conditions to affect the organisation, and then finally achieve continual improvement. These actions we put in place are so we can improve our performance within the environmental management system and manage risks to mitigate any impacts, but also leverage the opportunities, all the while moving towards continual improvement. This clause then goes on to state that within the scope of the environmental management system, the organisation shall determine potential emergency situations, including those that can have an environmental impact. Of course, this makes total sense. While you work through the requirements and identify risks or potential risks to the business, this will naturally result in the identification of what could potentially go wrong. So potential emergency situations. You will identify high-risk areas that you do want to proactively acknowledge and then put some emergency response plans in place. I'm not going to go into detail about this here, as this is all covered in clause 8.2, emergency preparedness and response. Now, to finish off this clause, it is stated that the organisation shall maintain documented information on risks and opportunities and processes needed in 611 through to 614 to the extent necessary to have confidence they are carried out as planned. Which leads me to ask the question, what would this look like in your environmental management system? Now that I've broken this clause down, what are we looking for in this documented information? I mentioned some of these actions earlier on as examples, which were new processes, new equipment, training, new technology, setting objectives, putting on new team members or contractors. So as auditors, we would see these actions as documented or visible evidence as part of the audit. Now, is that normally all that you would see? Well, to be honest, no. What is quite common to see is a risk register of some description. The risks and opportunities identified as part of the output from clause 4 and clause 6, all of these clauses referenced so far, could be documented in the risk register and then a risk assessment completed in the register, followed by the planned actions. Having a risk register does help to define the highest risks and the most productive opportunities to focus your time and effort on. Now that I've explained all of these requirements, can you see more clearly how you could action and demonstrate these actions in your own management system? Most importantly, keep it real. Follow a process that aligns most with how your business works currently. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Auditor Training Online is a recognised training provider, and we know how it works in the real world. So we are confident that we can help you to make a change in your life and join the most sought after profession out there. Go to our website and enrol in our training to transform your work and industry experience into a recognised qualification and career. And also, don't forget to subscribe to ATOL TV and leave a comment or question, as I truly do want to help you to join the best career out there with me.